Hey y'all, welcome to our bonus video on how to butcher and process a chicken. If you haven't seen the whole process on how we set up, dispatch, and eviscerate our chicken, check out this playlist here first. The reason we made this video though is because for a lot of years we didn't have access to a professional plucker, and hand plucking is kind of arduous. So we wanted to show you the process of how to actually skin the chicken so you don't have to deal with the feathers. Here you go. All right, so we are fortunate to have use of a plucker, but not everybody does. So we're gonna take one chicken and go ahead and skin it to show you guys how you can do this without a plucker. It is a harder process, it is a messier process, but it can be done. So we'll go ahead and start. The first thing you wanna do is wet down the bird. These super downy feathers are gonna wanna stick to the meat if you don't do that. So I'm just gonna lightly wet this bird down. I wanna get us back too. I'm gonna start by taking off the feet like I normally do. However, if you wanna save these for broth or whatever, you are gonna have to put them in some hot water after the fact and peel them, because that's what makes them sanitary. Now, it's hard to see that little double dip like I showed you on the plucked one, and it's harder to cut through where there's feathers, but it can be done. So there you go. Same thing. Just kind of find your spot. All right. And then I'm gonna go ahead and take the head off like I normally do. I'm gonna just cut through everything a little bit better since I've got feathers and all in the way. And use the edge of that table again. Then we're gonna go to where we were when we would eviscerate the bird, but we're not gonna eviscerate. We are gonna cut right here between the vent and the keel bone. So I'm just gonna cut through the skin, just through the skin. I'm trying not to get into the cavity of the bird right now. And then there's gonna be a lot of pulling and ripping, so. If you've ever cooked chicken, you realize this. The skin is not really attached to the meat, so once you get a spot here, you can just start peeling, basically. I want to try and peel the breast first. Sometimes the skin will tear, which it's doing now, that's okay. I just want to try and turn it inside out so I don't get this meat dirty if I can help it. There is a big piece of connective tissue along the keel bone here, so that's going to be the hardest spot. You might need to use the knife a little bit, but I'm mainly just going to be tearing. There we go. So there I have exposed the breast, and you may have to stop to clean periodically because, like I said, this is a dirtier process. And again, just pulling away at this connective tissue. And then, once I get all the way around this drumstick, like that, I'm gonna try and pull it off the end here. Sometimes it'll pull, yeah, inside out, which is what I want. Pull it off like pajamas. There we go. And then I'm gonna do the same-ish with the thigh. There's a tough bit of connective tissue down the back of the thigh here. So I'm gonna try and get through that. I may have to use my knife. I think I'm going to use my knife. Just to get that tear started. There we go. So now I've got the breast and the leg quarter freed. I've still got the wing in there, but I'm not gonna worry about that just yet. I'm gonna come over and do the same thing on the other side. Same thing on this leg quarter. I'm just gonna get in here and try and get around this drumstick with my fingers. Once I get around it, then I can try and invert the skin. Well, there we go. And that just helps to keep the dirty stuff away from the meat. I'm just gonna keep pulling that. I'm trying not to like spray the camera, y'all, so forgive me. There we go. So it just ideally will come off like pajamas. I'm gonna clean that. And again, might have to cut that little bit of connective tissue down the back of the thigh because that's pretty tough. But then we've got that whole leg quarter cleaned or skinned. Then I'm going to cut the skin up the neck here just to open the whole thing up, kind of like a book. At this point, you have to figure out if you care about the wings. Sometimes they're more trouble than they're worth. So what I have found myself doing when I am actually skinning a bird is I will cut at this joint here and keep the drumette, but just ditch the flat because it's so hard to pull the skin off of it. But that is up to you. What I'm going to do is turn and start working this down the back. I'm actually going to take this wing off right quick. So it's a lot like the leg. I've just cut through the skin and then, well, I didn't even have to cut. There's the joint there. So the joint opened up on its own, and then I can just take off the flat and the wingtip and then work this drumette like a little drumstick, like we did in the leg. I'm going to start by just nipping this connective tissue here and then try and get a start with my fingers. It is significantly tougher. The top of the bird is significantly tougher than the legs, so you may be able to do it, you may not. It's okay. So now I'm just using my finger to work to the spine. The spine is going to have a lot of connective tissue as well, so I'm going to work at it from this side, then work at it from the other, and then I'll probably cut along the spine. So still trying to get around that drumette. Not pretty, but I'm doing it. All right, there we go. All right, so here we are. That's the crop right there. So just like I did on the plucked bird, I'm going to try and separate that so that I don't cut into it. So I had said I was going to come from either side and cut along the spine, but this is going so good on this side, I'm going to just do a little gentle fillet work here just to separate this connective tissue. And then that's the spine right there, so I've kind of made it. I've made it past the tough bit. So now I can just keep using my fingers. So I've got, besides the other wing, I've got the neck and the tail that are really still attached. So something's got to give here for me to get this off. So I'm going to cut at the neck here and just separate it from the neck skin. One more little bit. There we go. And now I can actually pull. Oh yeah, I've got my other wing attached. Forgot about that. I'm going to come down again and take that end of that wing off. And I'm back to this drumette here. There's that really tight connective tissue. So we're just going to work our way around. There we go. So now, that's a little extra there. It's just coming off like pajamas at this point. These are just stuck. They're not actually in the bird. All right, so now I'm down to the tail, and I'm gonna come up on that the oil gland here in a second. And you've got choices. You can still cut out the oil gland like normal, or you can just cut off the tail. So that, if you can see that little bit of yellow right there, that's the beginning of the oil gland. So I'm gonna make sure and cut down, make sure that goes with everything that I'm pulling off so it doesn't stay on my bird. So now I've gotten all the skin off the whole bird except for down here at the very end of the tail and vent. And at this point, I can go ahead and open up the cavity just like I normally would, and when everything is hanging down, I can just cut that off like I would when I'm normally eviscerating the bird. And then I'm gonna clean it really, really, really well before refrigerating. So now everything's hanging down just like normal. I've got extra skin and feathers though hanging, so I'm just gonna, as carefully as I can, just cut all this away. And I may cut right through this tail in order to get all my skin, get all my skin and everything off. So there is my skinned bird now ready for cleaning. Hey guys, I hope that was helpful. YouTube thinks that you would like this video next, so go ahead and check it out.